Welcome back to the Eros channel, your go-to guide for all things love. The feeling that your love interest, boyfriend, or even husband is noticeably losing interest in you can be gut-wrenching. This unfortunate event can understandably stir up feelings of inadequacy, low self-esteem, and desperation. There are several reasons why a man could be displaying a decrease in interest, but if the source is not a sporadic or temporary event like a personal problem or increased stress, it's important that you recognize the signs before it's too late. If you don't take action, it's only a matter of time before the relationship comes to an end, or even worse, you remain in a relationship in which the feelings are just not mutual. In this video, we're going to provide you with the top signs that your man may be losing interest. And chances are that once you've heard them, you'll wonder how you ever missed them in the first place. So let's get started. Number 1. You feel as if you're the one keeping the communication afloat. Take a minute and think about your current relationship with this person. Now imagine stopping all the conversations, communication, and contact that you initiate. What would be left? If you're confident that his initiations would pick up the slack, then your relationship still has a pulse. But if your boycott of words would reduce the communication to almost zero, it's a clear sign you're headed for disaster. If he's losing interest, you'll definitely see a lack of effort on his part to initiate communication. You'll find yourself always being the one to reach out and subsequently waiting for a response. Long gone are the days where you couldn't finish a text without him already typing his response. When we're hurt and vulnerable, it's easy for us to try and rationalize this behavior. But men are generally simpler and easier to read than women. And if he is still invested in the relationship, there is no scenario in which you would have to be chasing him. Number 2. When you do talk, his input is scarce. When you first met, his interest in you was obvious. He asked a lot of questions and conversations were easy to have and develop naturally. But now it's more like pulling teeth. A man who is losing interest will begin to close himself off, providing more one-word answers than anything else, and definitely not inquiring more than he needs to. Meaningful conversations will become more scarce, and the time he spends on his phone while you're together will increase. After a conversation, you might notice you actually feel a little taxed from the effort you had to put in on your part to keep it going. Number 3. He has stopped pursuing physical intimacy. Ladies, if you haven't caught on to it already, most things men do are related to the quest for sex. Even unconsciously, men are always chasing it like a moth to a flame. It doesn't mean that men aren't capable of having other priorities or long-term loyal relationships. But it does mean that for most men, wanting to reach home base is almost always a top goal with someone he's interested in. So if your man has stopped flirting, complimenting you, buying you gifts, and making physical advances, it's definitely not a good sign. Now, it's very possible that a man who is trying to get you in bed is only interested in scoring and really not interested in you as a person or a relationship with you. But it's impossible for a man who is interested in you to not chase you physically as well. Number 4. He's easily irritated by you. Remember in the beginning of the relationship when he would laugh and flirt with you about your unique quirks, like the way you snorted when you laughed or how you lost your car keys once a week? Well, if those endearing little traits have now become his pet peeves, it's evidence of diminishing interest. You'll notice he gets easily irritated by the things you do, and this irritation will become his default mood when you're together. It's normal for a couple to bicker with each other about trivial things here and there, but if it seems like it's overtaking the relationship, it might be time to move on. Number 5. He makes excuses to avoid spending time together. This might seem obvious, but as humans, we often rationalize other people's behavior towards us and use denial to protect our feelings. If the majority of the plans you try to make are canceled by him for various reasons, he might be trying to let you know he is no longer interested. You might be getting a lot of, "I have to work late," or "I promised my buddies I'd go out with them," or "I'm tired." Ask yourself, would you cancel with him for the same reasons? If not, it's time to move on and look for someone who doesn't let life get in the way of seeing you. Number 6. He's not jealous anymore. If he is indifferent when he finds out about you talking to other guys or other guys pursuing you, it's one of the most significant signs he is not interested. Jealousy is a feeling that is ingrained into our DNA. So if thinking about you with another man does not at least begin to make his blood heat up, the desire is definitely gone. Even people in dying relationships that are doomed to fail feel and experience jealousy for one another. Number 7, he stops integrating you into his life. There are certain milestones in a relationship that weave your lives together. If your man is trying his best not to hit these, you're definitely not in his plans for the future. Things like introducing you to friends and family, joining a gym together, speaking publicly about you on social media, and speaking about the future are all things you share with someone who you're interested in. If he is not involving you in any of these things, it's because it'll make it more difficult to break ties with you in the long run. In a promising relationship, you should feel as if the connection and complexity of your relationship is naturally evolving. We've reached the end of our list, but above all else, the most important thing to pay attention to is your gut. And when it comes to a woman's gut, it's so effective that they even came up with a fancier way of referring to it: women's intuition. Science has proven that it's a real and instinctive skill, ingrained in the brains of females. Several studies have shown that women are much more likely to pick up on the subtle, nonverbal cues that men may be displaying. So trust your feelings. Deep within your heart, you have the ability to unravel the truth and decide if a man is interested in you or not. And if not, then don't even think twice about moving on. We all deserve to be with someone who loves us as much as we love them. Thank you so much for watching our video, and if you haven't done so already, please go ahead and subscribe by clicking the button on the bottom right corner of your screen. Also, feel free to leave your comments about this video and whether or not it was helpful for you. As always, remember to love yourself first.